All right.
Welcome to Spill the Tea Tuesday. Today I have with me my friend Amalia, and she's also an esthetician, does a lot of waxing and facials and things like that. We go back. Say good morning, Amalia.
Good morning.
So, what we're going to do today is go over a couple different questions. One of them is, what's the craziest thing that you've ever done to yourself as an esthetician? Like, you can get your hands on certain things that other people can't.
Right. So probably radio frequency microneedling was pretty intense.
Okay,
I
like
haven't
combine?
no, just by itself.
Okay.
Oh wait, yeah, combined. Yeah, so there's a little tool. It's called like the Viva something. I forget what it was called. It was when I worked at like Novuskin.
Mm-hmm.
But they have a bunch of really cool gadgets, and they did it on me, and it was pretty intense.
Okay, so they did it on you?
Yeah.
Okay,
Like
what was your result like?
it was good. It was like resurfacing, discoloration went away. It's controlled damage to the skin, so
Right.
your skin heals itself, produces more collagen, elastin.
Right.
So it was a nice result.
So it sounds like that was a really nice treatment. But
Yeah.
what have you done crazy to yourself? Like
Oh, to myself?
just dumb
Oh,
stuff.
I gave myself a Brazilian a few times.
Did you ever bruise yourself, lift skin, anything like that?
I didn't lift skin, but I definitely bruised myself because I wasn't holding enough tension.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to pull the butt cheek back.
Yeah.
That's the trick.
Yeah. And like all the skin in between, I don't know. It was kind of a hot mess. I had to ring phone a friend in for help. And that was the last time I ever did it.
Hold on.
By myself.
So you were just mid Brazilian?
Yeah.
The vag is out?
Yep.
And you call a friend?
Yeah.
How soon did they get there? How soon were you stuck in that position?
So this was actually in school, so they helped me out pretty quickly, and I was really grateful for that. And it was a life lesson learned. Yeah. Don't give yourself a Brazilian.
I think some of the craziest things do happen in school.
Yeah.
Because we're just learning. We don't know what the boundaries are. We just go ham sandwich.
Yeah.
I mean, in beauty school, it wasn't something I did to myself. Well, my first Brazilian experience I talked about in the past was a little crazy. I had like 4 people involved at one point. It was insane. But things got stuck. I had like a turtle shell of wax covering both labia.
Oh,
it was
no.
crazy. And I've talked about that in the past. But the one that takes me back to beauty school was this lady had come in, and she had just recently got divorced. But when she said recently, I thought like recently, within like days or weeks, maybe even a couple months.
Yeah, you would
But
assume.
she tells me 2 years she didn't leave her house because of the depression she was in.
Oh,
So
that's
now my
sad.
heart breaks for this woman,
Yeah.
right? And I'm in beauty school. She says she's in there for a bikini. Now, I would say for every esthetician out there, do not agree to do something without seeing the situation first. And this was like the first lesson I learned in beauty school.
Nice.
I was like, sure. She's like, if you do my Brazilian, because at the school I went to, we couldn't do Brazilians. It was just bikinis. And she said, if you do my whole Brazilian, like I'll give you $100. So
Wow.
here I am, 18, 19, broke in beauty school.
Yeah.
$100 is a lot of money.
How do you pass that up?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't. So I was like, sure. And in my mind, I was like, I'm going to make this happen. Like, I'm just going to figure it out.
Yeah.
All I had was soft wax. I didn't have hard wax.
Oh my God.
And her hair was a good 4 inches long.
Oh no.
And I was like, what am I going to do with this? So I'm working my way from the outside in, just doing little strips at a time. I'm literally like separating her hair, almost like parting it, and then pushing it into the wax, and then putting like the wax on top of wax. So it was almost like sandwiching hair with soft wax. And then I was like, lots of friction, heating it up and pulling it. And I thought I was doing a pretty good job. I'm like, okay, we're getting there. So I got her a good, nice, clean, like French bikini.
Okay.
Then we get into the labia, right?
Yeah.
And
that's the hard part with soft wax.
And you don't know what you're doing back then. Like when you just start with, especially with soft wax, you're just like, wax on and I'll pull it off.
Wax on, wax off.
Exactly. So I grabbed a little glob of soft wax, and on the lower labia, which for her, I probably should have separated in like 6 sections, but I just did half of her labia. So it just combed the hair down and like squished it, and then I put the strip on there and I go to pull and it just like almost like a mud flap. It just like lifted the hair up and yanked on her, didn't come out.
Oh no.
So now I'm bruising this poor woman's labia and the hair's not coming out.
Oh, I feel her pain. Oh, ouch.
Feel my pain. What? I was in pure panic. And then not to mention,
yeah, I would have been sweating.
I was not only sweating, but this little room, the private room that we had, was like maybe a 5x5 just box, like just a tiny little room. I don't know. Have you seen Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls?
Yes.
When he's in the rhino.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And he's like sweating.
And they think the rhino's giving birth.
Remember the scene where like the little fan is like clipped there and it's like me, and then it like stops and it's like me. We had a little fan like that in that room.
It was that tight.
It was that tight. It was so hot. And it was just like the fan was going out and I'm like, dear God, Jesus, baby, like, Lord, please keep that fan on. And I start to panic. So I grab my eyebrow scissors and I lift where it's like closest to the skin where the wax didn't meet, which it should have, but now, but
it didn't get all the way through to the skin.
It didn't because she had too much hair in the way. And I start cutting the wax and the hair off. And I tell her, I said, I can give you a nice trim, but I'm not going to be able to get this area. And she said, that's okay, sweetie. So I give her $100 bill back and I'm sweating. Like I have like the workout gym sweat that goes down your armpit, hits your waistband and comes all the way up. It's down my boobs. I got the boob sweat. It looks like I have like a sleepy, like smiley face on the front of my shirt, just like the boob sweat. So, and I'm just like in pure panic. So I tell her I'm just going to cut all this off and you can keep your 100. And she was like, no, you tried really hard. It's okay. Like you can keep it. So I'm in there scissoring like these little hairs away. And mind you, it's 4-inch long hair. And now we're in this tight box with a fan. So I have hair lifting and blowing around. At one point, I'm like,
oh my God, no, don't do that. Oh.
It was in my mouth. It was in my mouth.
That is gnarly.
It was so gross.
Oh my God.
I could have flossed.
Did you kept it together though, it sounds like.
Oh, hell yeah. What else do you do?
I would fall apart. I would fall apart.
You're like, no, not the mouth.
I would call the instructor. I'd be like, listen, I messed up. I need your help.
Oh no, I was like, I am not admitting fault. I'm either going to get it done or I'm going to do my best to like pull it together. So here I am sweating, sweat dripping in my face. And I'm like,
oh my God,
I'm going to get it.
And you can't show them that you're doing that either. You have to like keep your composure when you're in front of them. So, wow.
Oh yeah, you can't have panic meltdown in front of clients.
Especially not for that.
Well, especially because then you don't want them to panic.
Exactly.
Right?
Right.
Poor lady. I told her, I'm like, I even gave her my personal phone number that day. I was like, here's my phone number. We should go out for drinks. Like, you need to get out of the house. I felt so bad for her. I mean, and she did reach out and like we did have something planned and it fell through. But then I was thinking to myself, like, oh, I shouldn't do that. Like, I shouldn't just give my phone number out to every stranger I feel, like a connection with or whatever, feel sorry for.
And then she's like, this student saw my whole vagina and now we're going to go out
She's like, now
drinks.
We have to have drinks.
Yeah, exactly.
This feels right.
Holy moly.
We kind of got off topic, but that was a good story.
That's hilarious.
That's a good story. I mean, it doesn't sound like you've done anything too crazy to yourself.
No, I think that's the worst one. When you said crazy at first, I thought you meant intense. So the RF was intense, but the frizzling was way worse.
Yeah, but you never like effed yourself up?
No, not really. Yeah.
You just haven't been in the game long enough yet then.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe I'm just going to F myself up later with a new product I've never used.
I mean, I've like messed myself up.
What else have you done?
I've like filled my lips while being drunk. Oh
my God.
Weren't we working together when that happened?
I think that you told me about that. I think that's when they had the at-home fillers that are no longer available.
Yep.
Because they're illegal.
Totally illegal. I still have that shit in my closet.
Oh my God.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that was horrible.
Always go to a professional,
Always go
even if you're a professional.
Yeah, well, and don't make dumb decisions when you're highly intoxicated.
Yeah, especially that. I
Yeah.
think, yeah, that would have been the biggest
Nah.
red flag of it. You survived. We're here now.
I survived. I think I'm okay.
Yeah.
Maybe the chemicals went to the brain. I don't know. We're all right.
Who
And then
knows?
I've also microneedled myself with a peel, which sounds fine, but I was standing and leaning over a sink, so the angle wasn't right, and it just like scratched the crap out of my face. It wasn't microneedling. I apologize. It was microchanneling, but it's supposed to be flat to the face,
Right.
and I was like angled weird, so it was just like doing this,
Oh,
and I ended up scratching my whole face, and that took, but the peel was great. I scabbed real nicely. Like,
oh, okay. So it ended up
I
okay.
mean, no, I still have like some scarring that I was working on,
Yeah,
because
crazy.
I went a little too ham sandwich.
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I saw a girl
just doing stuff to myself
on YouTube using those rollers, those dermal rollers with the they have like different size needles on them.
Yes, I actually love those.
Really? Because I was thinking, like, wouldn't those drag the skin as they're rolling, because they don't go right in, like, perpendicular to the skin. They'll roll out.
If you are doing it correctly and applying the correct pressure, then it really should just be doing like going into the skin, and then think of like boop boop boop, and then it pops out boop boop boop.
Yeah.
So it should, it should be a really good treatment. I love it. I carry it in my spa.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Well, also side note, it's like loophole to all the stupid like laws and stuff in the state that we live in.
Right.
So it's like microneedling without having to have like the medical grade. Also, too, making sure the depth of that needle doesn't exceed a certain length.
Yeah, with the pressure as well. Right.
But I mean, you can get a really good treatment and not be considered or classified medical. Like you can do a microderm, to break away dead skin cells and kind of clear a path, or crevices, so to speak, to send your peels in deeper, and then you are working deeper into the skin that way. And then once the peel softens things up, you can derma roll and go ahead and send you all your hydrators and maybe do like an oxygen. Like that's an intense treatment, but a very productive treatment.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I was under the impression that I really couldn't do much besides waxing, and even extractions were out at one point. I remember there was like laws going up and down. Like,
well, let me ask you this question. Where's the bottom of the hair stay? What level of the skin? Epidermis or dermis? Dermis.
Dermis, right.
And then what does the law state that we cannot work in?
The epidermis.
No, the dermal layer.
Oh,
they say you cannot work in the dermal layer. So how does that make sense? That the hair is rooted in the dermal layer of the skin. We're pulling that out as waxers.
Right.
But then you tell me that I can't work in the dermal layer of the skin. But I can wax, but I can't do other things.
Yeah, I looked up the state board as well, and there was only one esthetician on the entire state board. The rest were cosmos or nail techs.
Yeah. Well, and it's all the puppeteers above them that have no experience in this industry.
No
that
education
call the
on
shots.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just so silly.
I'm definitely like, this is all oshkosh. Like, bleh, this is stupid.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they want us to try to find loopholes, we will, because we know the industry better than them.
That's true.
I mean, maybe I shouldn't be recording that, but
this is not legal advice.
This is not legal advice. Don't do what I'm telling you to do.
Strongly do not recommend.
Well, okay. So then nothing too crazy, nothing you haven't like damaged yourself in any
No,
way.
I think I'm too scared to like do things like that.
I'm still curious how long it took that person to get to you while you were spread eagle with your vag out.
Oh, so they were in like another classroom. So they just came right over. Yeah.
Oh, you're like, ah.
I was very lucky, but our wax at the time was not great. It was hard wax, so that was a plus. Yeah. And she was able to like get it finished for me. So
nice.
Yeah.
You're like, help me out.
Yeah. And she had already seen my vag before, so it was not too big of a deal.
You're already on that level of friendship.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole class was like, our class was the only class at the time that was in the school, because there was like different groups, different classes, right, that actually shared our vages to each other so that we could learn the most that
Yeah,
we
you
possibly could,
practice on each
which
other.
was great because there were other classes that weren't able to practice at all.
Because they didn't have enough people?
No, they just refused to be
Oh,
spread
they're
eagle in
just like,
front of
no
everybody.
thanks.
Yeah. So I understand that, but then you can't learn as much either.
Yeah.
So
I think that when you go into this field, you have to have a level of openness,
yeah.
because not only are we working on other people's bodies from head to toe,
Yeah.
all the crevices, but if we put ourselves in those situations, we better understand the client's situation.
Right. Yeah.
So I always highly encourage my employees to go get waxed by each other or even go to other places and get waxed.
Yeah.
I mean, I've even paid for my team to go get massages at other places just so that they can pick up on, not only is it like a reward,
It's smart.
but
Yeah.
it's also, I want them to pick up on the movements that they liked and what they didn't like so that they can apply it to their treatment room.
Yeah.
So I highly encourage estheticians to go get waxed by other people.
That's awesome. Yeah. And then they can learn different techniques that they've never heard of or seen before.
Yeah. Or what just feels better.
Yeah.
Like what felt good and how did you do that and replicate it. I feel like that's what makes you a better esthetician is when you've experienced by other hands as much as possible. I mean, I know from the consumer standpoint, it's like, I don't want everyone seeing my privates, I get that. But from a professional standpoint, I feel like we should like get out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's something to think about going into beauty school. But anywho, thank you for listening to Spill the Tea Tuesday. Until next week.